6 p.m. to order the planning commission workshop. I have a roll call.
Sure. Chairperson Weiser.
Here.
Member Chair. Here. Vice Chair Lynn. Member Roach. Secretary Lynn. Member Burton. Member Evans.
I was just saying that the board was a little behind, and we're very late, but that's just okay. I got minutes from our March 18 workshop. I have a motion regarding those minutes. I have a motion for Brad. Any comments? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. By the way, in your packet, there is an updated list of permitted uses, primarily non-residential. This is basically all the system that we want on because and what it was is to take those changes that the council and us made at one meeting in 2020. You'll see we added industrial uses at the Apple Center. There are industrial uses. And I am the one who took the initiative and added that also to the light industry, the light and general industry. So that would be limited in 3 areas, not just the light business. Okay? The bylaws in the board, when I went back and listened to the meeting, they made this decision when I had. I couldn't really hear when they made this decision, whether we were going to limit it or special exception. And since we basically have a special exception already into 220, we have a special exception. The other, if you turn on page 2 of the to try and avoid some confusion. Where it says manufacture and or processing. You notice we now have these large solar and energy production facilities and Indian and energy production facilities. They should be in there as industrial uses. That eliminates that confusion that they have. That's what the recommendation Justin. So I wanted to make a note of those. Everything else that is in there, highlighted, it's what came out of the March meeting. This puts that all into this format. And when we get back to the table of dimensional requirements, we change the minimum lot area. That is now 20,000 square feet minimum lot. We took out the description out. And the now are designated the maximum coverage of 85% maximum residence coverage. Previously, that's without even anything versus coverage. So that is what you have there. And that is what I am going to carry over to our full meeting, our regular meeting. Make recommendations on also for addition to that, this was brought up at our meeting about medical marijuana ordinance that was never come out. So I would also like us, and then we discuss this for the owners after now, to one recommendation about our form of communication. I'd like to have ordinance 885. Marijuana dispensary, that we get the same time. That currently ordinance is written to for the light industrial. And there was discussion at one meeting about changing that to some other business. I would like to recommend that it stay the light industrial. We can add it to light business, we can general industrial. And then that could go into the commercial. Any thoughts on that? And then if you look at the ordinance, the definitions are there. That can be pulled up from that ordinance to be used in the zoning ordinance to 2019, which is definitions section. So, I'm looking at this, seeing what happens. Another thing that came up, which I know the mayor has been kind of thinking of, is the tattoo on bodies. And then there was an ordinance passed in 2019.
It's quite extensive too.
Right, and it's quite expensive. One thing, the definitions, again, could be pulled from that. But the one thing that did not specify is the zoning district. There's nothing in that ordinance that says there is a medical marijuana that's specified by users. So I would, any case I have found looking through ordinances, that's what they have been basically a public commercial. And there are other, Ephrata, it's a highway commercial district, it's permitted, and it's the only place it's permitted.
Well, now we have the issue of smoke shops, so.
I don't know what we can do. Because I specifically went through, I went from Lancaster City, Lincoln Township, Blackburn Township, Ephrata Borough, Borough, now Borough. I went through all of them.
I think they're coming in under the guise of retail, which a tattoo parlor is not.
No.
So the smoke shops are coming in as a retail.
This one down here actually has a sign that says it's a grocery. I went out and.
So they did over Hearts Street. Dad went down there and the signage that they wanted to drop in the bottom right hand corner was something related to smoke shop. So I thought, you know what, everything's telling me, so I walked down to them. Any signage that's in the front windows is related to smoke shop like that. So.
But they have this little sign there, which looks like a yard sign. It says it's a grocery.
And then, of course, the one out on Manor that used to be the barber shop.
So I would like to make this also part of our recommendation to council to include both the marijuana dispensing and the tattoo body piercing as part of these zoning changes. So we'll really, any questions on that? Or
I have a quick
As long as
question.
it doesn't
Feel
open up
about
too long.
The ones that are already there that have popped up in the last few months, which are, they're all grandfathered in.
unfortunately.
There used to be that you had to have a radius between the same type of business,
Yeah.
and now that doesn't seem to apply.
Doesn't, no.
I don't think, because someone said that to me, well, can't you regulate how many? I'm like, oh, that would be a Joselle question, but I don't think you can do
Right.
that.
You can't.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think what we'll be doing with this is we will make a formal recommendation to council regarding these items, regarding the changes to the tables, and to put this as part of it. And I think the recommendation will be to refer it to the solicitor for
Mhm.
ordinance, putting it into an ordinance form.
Which is currently being worked on.
And then both council and planning should review that. And then once that's been reviewed, it should go down to Lancaster County Planning for their review. So we're probably talking June, July
Right.
till, this would actually happen. Am I wrong on that, or?
No, you're right,
Till we go through all this.
because this is already April,
Right.
so, yeah.
Well, I hope to have this together to go to council at their meeting next week.
Do you currently have any thoughts on the zoning districts for either one of the two?
I would look at the highway, the medical marijuana is already by ordinance, that's supposed to go into the LI.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we
Adding.
met last week, they were talking about putting it in the LB instead of the LI. But I think it needs to go into the LB, but it also has to remain in the LI. And maybe the GI.
Yeah, I agree.
Let it in those three. And with the tattoo and body piercing, highway commercial.
And what about the smoke shops?
Any other thoughts on
I mean,
either of
so many of
those?
those are grandfathered in anyway.
Yeah,
It wouldn't hurt to have.
Smoke shops, I lost count.
And
Oh.
Tattoos
tattoo
went
parlors.
down. It was 6, it's now 4.
and right now with smoke shops, we've got nothing to back that.
No, there's no,
There's
nothing.
nothing.
You'd have to specifically call it out, and then what they're gonna do is just change it to a grocery store.
Right.
That's,
When the mayor and I spoke today concerning that, his thought process, we were both, and this conversation only took place mid-afternoon today, checking the adult use and seeing if, until we can get something in the books, if anything, if we could do the smoke shops, tie that into that,
That's a good idea.
any which way, for now, till we
Within a
get this.
certain
Because there
amount of
should
feet
be
from a
legal age
school.
anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
So there are kids going in there under 18?
Oh, I'm sure. And my
Definitely.
understanding from the high
See it.
school is that there's some shady stuff going on.
Right.
I did not get the exact location. There must be at least 2 here in town. I can guess one,
right.
but it would just be a guess. So
It's now Pennsylvania law, which I just noticed at Sheets for Turkey Hill.
21.
21 in order to sell smoking products, cigarettes. You could smoke at 18,
mhm.
but you
But to
can't
sell.
go in and they can't sell it to you unless you're 21.
Mhm.
I wonder who's.
Well, our definition of adult use, adult bookstore, movie theater, massage parlor, or adult live entertainment facility.
Is that what it says? Okay.
What's that, Mary?
Adult use.
Yeah.
Were you in the one on Locust Street? Down here?
Smoke shop?
Mm-hmm.
Inside, no.
When they're called smoke shops, are they just selling a variety of smoke?
Well, they have hookahs and
Like,
and they
right,
sit
like
in there.
hookahs. Do they have areas where people can sit and actually
I
smoke?
know, I know.
The only
Lanco-
one that I know
Lanco
is Lanco
smokes
smokes
on
because
Third
of
Street does have a
cigars.
whole parlor
And
where
so
you can
does
sit.
Musser's
That's
out
not
at
on
Oh,
um,
yeah, they do too.
differently.
out at the
Yeah.
cigar shop in the old
Right.
shopping center. They have a
Right.
place where you can go in and smoke
Right.
cigars.
And that's more of their target
Mhm.
Yeah.
too, age range and everything and type of products they want to sell. It's
These types of places are selling paraphernalia, and it's
Mhm.
more, I mean, you see these pipes, it's not for cigarettes.
and also I forget what it's called, but it's technically illegal, but they're trying to sell it as if it's legal.
Oh, the fake marijuana, I can't think of what it's called. But
Synthetic.
they're all selling it, and it's advertised in the windows.
Yeah.
The Delta 8 and different things like that, it's all, I'm pretty sure it's illegal.
There was something else I saw other than adult. There was something else. And before I forget, with adding data center to our permitted uses, we need to add the definition of data center. And I think the one that Justin suggested here,
I thought that was really good.
Yeah, that looks good.
that we would use that. That needs to be also added. Since we're adding the data center to the table, we at least need to have
Definition.
the definition.
Mm-hmm.
So, any other thoughts?
I did research on special exception language for warehouse too. I
Mhm.
looked at it. E-Town Borough was the first one I looked at, just because I know they have warehouses
Right.
up there.
There's nothing there,
There's nothing.
nothing. That's what, that, I was looking for that too with the smoke shops.
Mm-hmm.
Maryland Township, East Hempfield, West Hempfield, none of them has anything about special exemptions for warehousing, package delivery.
I wonder if Middletown would, because they have that huge distribution center now
Well, I
where
went
the
to-
market was.
Well, I
went
think,
to Rathbell.
and I even think
Okay. Yeah.
maybe the special exception isn't there because they have these big industrial
They're
areas
already in
where
use,
they're already
not as a
permitted.
special
So no
exception
one's
to-
going to come in and say, oh, I want to put a warehouse in downtown E-Town.
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And that was the other thing, when Paul and I were talking about these special exceptions. To outline what the special exception is going to send it to zoning.
Mhm.
And isn't that where it exists?
Correct, and they have to prove hardship.
They have to prove hardship. So I don't understand this having to define what makes it a special exception.
Is there general special exception language that applies to everything and then it gets tweaked for specific things?
That's what I was trying to figure out also. And I went in different ones that it just said that you needed, like with the tattoo. The one municipality has it listed as a special exception. And that's the only place you're seeing it,
Mm-hmm.
where it's listed as a special exception.
I wonder if they do that to get them to zoning and then they just
Case by
have the
case.
hearing and then
Yeah,
condition
see,
everything
that's my question.
through the testimony.
This thing of having to come to define what makes it a special exception. Oh, I just found my body piercing, my tattoo. That was 2009. It was ordinance 796 of 2009,
2009.
and it was very intensive.
Yes, Jeff wrote that and it was very,
Yeah, between him and Butcher. And Missy Glenn worked on that. So are there any other things that we want to add to the changes to the tables? Other than the marijuana, to add that to the tables with the definitions from the ordinance 885, to add tattoo and body piercing with definitions to come from, what did I just say? 796, 796, from ordinance 796, and to add the definition of data center as suggested by Justin. I would love to be able to add something regarding the vape and smoke shops, but I don't know how we go about doing that.
Solicitor might know best. What do you think?
What's that?
The solicitors may know best about that.
And would that go?
Is there a way to cap the number for the borough? I mean, there's so many now as it is.
I don't think
Legit, no.
legally you can do that. No.
No.
So, but
It's
you,
not like a liquor license.
and since
Right.
they're not even defined, it's not that they're in
No,
special
because-
zoning districts.
Because their
Permitted.
the main retail part is smoking paraphernalia.
But
And then if they put bread and milk in there, they call it a grocery
Right.
store.
Right.
they'll tweak it, have it fit.
Unless somebody can give us some guidance if they know other municipalities are doing anything about it.
I think if we could just make it for adults only,
That would help at least to
just
start with that.
Anybody over 21, if we can get that approved. I don't know how to do that.
I'm not sure how you would do that.
That's the law.
Yeah.
Is it the law of anybody over 18 or is it 21?
21.
So legally they can't sell to someone under, and what would happen if they do?
I guess they would technically lose their
Fine,
license if,
yeah.
if someone enforced it.
So how do you get someone to enforce this? What do you need to go through to enforce?
Well, who would that be? Tobacco and
Legislation.
firearms or that would not even be within our borough. That would probably be a state municipality. don't you
I
think?
would have no idea who you would have enforce something.
Yeah, because I know Liquor Control Board will send people.
To the state
Right.
stores
in.
and different.
I was
places
at
that
an
sell
establishment
alcohol.
in the borough and two came in.
Mhm.
So I'm saying they don't have anybody in the state that enforces this.
I mean, they should, I would think.
I have no idea.
Can you quickly look into that, Bill, on your phone? Would you please, while we wait for the mayor?
The mayor's on the
About tobacco and firearms within the state. Right.
Well, can we
It's
bring you
definitely a
up to
good
date
start,
on
a
where
great
we
start.
are here? Are you listening?
Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we are at this point recommending the changes to the tables of permitted uses as we worked out at March 20th meeting. We are also recommending that marijuana dispensary be added to the light business, light industrial, general industrial, and the definitions from ordinance 885 be added to the zoning ordinance. We are recommending that tattoo and body piercing be placed in the highway commercial. The definitions be taken from ordinance 796. Okay? We are adding data center in the light business, light industrial, general industrial, and we are adding a definition for that. That is the point we were at, and now we are discussing what can we do about the smoke vapor shops.
Kelly Murphy, I was really trying to see if I have it, I don't have it in front of me. Kelly Murphy did some research, he came up with, you know, he has legislative committees, so
Right.
I'm sure he still has it. He came up with a definition of a smoke shop. And a smoke shop is, to paraphrase, a smoke shop is a business where the principal use is selling tobacco products.
Okay.
So you can sell tobacco, if you're selling principal uses, they're calling it a smoke shop, tobacco products, but you're selling milk and eggs and everything else, that don't count. That's not a grocery store, it's a smoke shop.
Okay.
So if they're selling tobacco products and tobacco-related products, if you go into some of these seedy places throughout Columbia, they have some paraphernalia that's in there, which I would say represents probably 75% of what their business is, that goes towards illicit drugs.
That
They're
would
not, they
be,
may
that
not
would be
be,
principal use.
they may not be selling illicit drugs, but they're paraphernalia based.
Yeah. And that's the principal use. And I would recommend, and I've thought a lot about this, that you can place it wherever y'all feel it should be, in what zoning district, but as a special exception, may be permissible in certain areas. There, they have to come to you and make a case. For example, in the downtown here, if there's, say, one smoke shop, and another one comes in and wants it as a special exception, you can say, no, we already have one. Downtown shouldn't be all smoke shops, or something like that. Or you could just zone them somewhere else. You could zone them highway commercial, light industrial, or whatever have you. Right now, here's the problem we have right now, you know, and it's our fault, all our faults. But I'll put a little bit of that on Lancaster County Planning Commission. The Lancaster County Planning Commission had a complete staff. They would do model ordinances. They would see what's trending and do model ordinances and send them out to the municipalities, like the cell towers and things like that, bed and breakfasts. You know, they saw these things and coming, and they created a model ordinance, and we just took the ordinance and changed some of the words in it, and we had our ordinance. That's not happening anymore. So now what we're doing is we're reactive. And we shouldn't be reactive, we should be proactive, making these changes. With the smoke shops, you know, I feel as though we should do something about them. And eventually, I think in the downtown, they'll basically run each other out of business or whatever have you, or they won't be able to pay the rent or whatever, you know, and they'll go, and some of them will go away. But right now, there is no definition of a smoke shop. There is no zoning area in Columbia specified for that. So that invokes a curative amendment, and it can be anywhere in a community. For example, Lee Springs Borough Shop is going to be a smoke shop. That is the last damn place you want to have a smoke shop. There's a one room, and it's one room of a house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's, to me, that's totally ridiculous, you know, and it doesn't fit that neighborhood. That's what's happened, you know, that's why you gotta get on the ball before it happens more places. And I truly believe, as the chief does, that there's gonna come a day, I think sooner than later, where recreational marijuana is gonna be legal. When that happens, that's what these guys are setting up for. They're gonna set up, and instead of being called Columbia, we're gonna be called Colorado. Because that's what's gonna happen. We're gonna have these potheads sitting all over the place. You know, if you have trouble with homeless now, where go there?
So do you decide the restrictions now as to where you can smoke medical marijuana?
We have nothing there, you know, that's what I'm saying.
But I
There's
mean,
another-
is that something you can put in place?
That's something you can put in place. Here's an area I would look at. I was talking with Paula this afternoon. I think I mentioned this to you, Paula, that in our zoning ordinances, there is something that has to do with adult
Yeah,
uses. Okay, adult entertainment or adult uses. You could look at that piece and what that, it doesn't permit those things to happen within so many feet or yards of a school. And you could look at that because tobacco products, you have to be an adult, 18 or over. Is it 18 or is it 21?
21.
It's 21.
You have to be, so you have to be an adult. You could modify that piece of that ordinance
Okay.
that says none of these places can be of school. Well, if you look at our school, do a pretty good job.
so you're looking, what you're looking at is the additional requirements for specific principal uses.
Yeah.
Adult use.
Yeah.
It lists the following: bookstores, adult movie theater, massage, adult entertainment use. That is our definition for
Yeah, and you could add.
adult use.
And
You
you
would
could add
have,
tobacco products.
Okay.
Tobacco products. Be
and
very
what
simple.
that does is, some of the things here is 1,000 linear feet of the lot line of any primary or secondary school, place of worship, daycare center. No such use shall be located within 1,000 lineal feet of any existing adult use. I'm just reading this.
And we can do
That's
this-
how it should
we can
be.
do this
Buffer,
now?
prohibited signs.
Yeah, that puts a lot of teeth in it.
Right.
And
Mhm.
that, and
I think you should include
So
vaping.
what you need to
along with the
do is
smoking.
change the definition of adult use
Right.
to include smoke and vape
Just to
shops.
say tobacco, then they can skate that.
And then do you also add a definition for smoke and vape shops?
yeah, I think you need to put that definition.
And maybe the paraphernalia. while
Right,
you're at it.
exactly.
It would be principal
Smoke
use.
products,
Tobacco and tobacco products.
Right.
Or, yeah, tobacco products. You go out there.
Including
you go out here
vape
to
and paraphernalia.
the Bussers, you know, I mean, they're playing people for it. If you look in that tobacco shop, there is 2 cases of products, pipes, holders.
Yeah, that should definitely
And we're
be in
getting a
the
lot of-
adult
we've-
use.
We've been,
Well, don't they have them down here too? I thought I
Yeah.
saw
believe
them
the
lined on the,
well, they all do, that's part of the use, you know, not everybody's vaping, they're buying it for smoking marijuana.
Mhm.
The school has contacted us twice now, and we're gonna talk about it soon. They're having trouble at the schools with kids vaping, and wanted to know what we could do about it. Well, really, we can't do anything about it. That falls, that's tobacco products, that falls under the Department of Agriculture. And we can complain and get someone, undercover, take a look at it. We've done some of that, we've done some undercover work, in some of the places selling tobacco, getting kids underage. But, you need the ordinance to really put the teeth
Do they have a policy in place at the school?
Oh,
in.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure they do.
I know
You
you
can't
have to
smoke
be off
anywhere up
campus,
there. I mean,
but
completely, I think off the hill.
yeah,
From
off
all-
campus.
Their property is smoke free,
Yes.
right.
To answer your
or I should
question,
say tobacco free.
to answer your question from earlier, you cannot stop a minor from going into one of these places according to it says Act 112
They
in
just
Pennsylvania.
can't purchase.
It goes
Right.
on and on with the code.
They can go in, but they can't
But they
purchase.
cannot purchase. And the retailer has to card everyone
And see, that
under
should
the
be
age of
checked.
27. They also have,
Right, that's
they
like
have to
drinking
have it
alcohol
posted
under
that
35.
everyone under the age of 27 must be carded.
Yeah, you take up where Andy's was, kids can go in there because they're going to get poured milk.
Yeah, that's right on the way home from school.
Okay,
So we're-
Leo, so what would move this forward? What would give us some teeth
Well,
would be to expand within zoning the definition of adult use. And by expanding that, it throws these special, specific principal uses into effect, which outlines the linear feet, the different things like that. So you need to make a
but you
change.
also need the definition.
Right,
Correct.
that's what I'm saying. We need to modify this definition of adult use.
No, you need to modify the definition of adult use, but you need to put a standalone definition.
For
In the table permitted
in
uses.
the